So officially welcome to this class. I've had a lot of fun playing with my fascia and feeling so much support from the ground up. And then this magic thing happened where I experienced the best plank of my life, even though I didn't do any shoulder stuff, I didn't do any wrist stuff. So we're going to explore how to incorporate our whole body so we can feel so much support and weightlessness in our plank pose, really all of our poses, but that's the magic moment when we come into plank and just float. So I'm so glad to be here with you guys. And just an FYI, you're going to need a little bit of room on either side of your mat. We're mostly going to be rolling away, so you'll probably need more room on the far side, but there's going to be just one moment in the beginning where we roll to the other side. So if you need to make any adjustments for that, please do. And then scooch to the other side of your mat. Have your left side of your body closest to the screen, and then you can just recline. Hi, Angelia. So good to see you. And feel free to bend your knees so that your pelvis can make balanced contact with the earth. Stretch fingers towards the heels and allow the shoulder blades to gently integrate onto the rib cage. And then just start to observe your breath flow. At first it might feel more obvious to notice the front of the body expanding, chest, ribs, belly. And see if you can expand that awareness to include the side body and the back body. You can imagine you're trying to breathe towards the earth and just notice if that creates a little more expansion through the rib cage, the low back as the diaphragm presses down and out. As you tune into the breath, let the body relax as deeply as possible. You might even allow the thighs to knock in towards one another. And see if you can ungrip. Just allow the body to be supported without effort as you breathe. And if you're following along with the playlist, you can hit play on the first track at any point now. Make sure it's set to loop. And if the thighs have knocked in, just point the knees up towards the sky and ever so gently start to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And as you windshield wiper the knees, a surprising amount is happening in the body. Start by making sure the knees feel supported, so especially that inside of the knee, we can go a little far and strain the medial collateral ligament there, so less is more. And then once the knees are supported, bring your awareness to the feet and just notice how the weight transfers from the right side of both feet to the center to the left side of both feet. And allow the feet to be really heavy, as if they were filled with warm water. And as the weight shifts, you just feel the pooling of the foot's weight flowing from side to side. And with this visualization, perhaps more of the foot can start to contact the earth. And the final place we'll observe is the pelvis. All of this happening so perfectly and harmoniously without you orchestrating it. It's just the knees tipping from side to side, and all of this follows. Now start to notice the massage through the back of the pelvis, massaging all of the muscular attachments to the back of the ilium and the sacroiliac joint. As you do this, you might notice just the tiniest rotation of the spine as one side of the pelvis lifts. There's just the subtlest pivot. And point the knees up to center and just pause and scan low back, knees, feet, and notice if they're just starting to light up a little bit more, starting to give you more information. Slowly start to snow angel the arms overhead and really take your time so you can feel the contact of the arms against the floor, the rotation of the shoulders. And then once the arms make it overhead, go back to windshield wipering the legs. In the next round, we'll do that simultaneously. So the legs will windshield wiper as the arms circle. And notice now with the arms overhead how you start to get a little more rotation through the spine. You've got a little bit more room for the pelvis to tilt, and then the spine naturally follows. And the next time the knees knock over to the left, push a little extra into the right foot so that you can roll onto the left side. Stack the legs, stack the arms, and just gently flex elbows and knees, hugging them in towards one another slightly, and then extending out. And so doesn't matter how big these movements are, they can be quite small, but we want to feel the legs and the arms integrating into the center of your body. Each time arms and legs stretch apart, and notice the space that you start to have to roll towards the belly. We're not going to go there just yet, but start to notice how that's becoming more and more available as you stretch out. And the next time you stretch out, slowly with control start to roll towards the belly, but try to set the right side of the body down easy so there's not a collapse. And then before we do the second side, let's just pause for a moment on the belly and reconnect with the breath. Feeling the part of the body pressing into the mat, but then also feeling the breath expanding above you into the sky, into the space. Lift the left leg, let it cross over the body so you can slowly roll to the other side of the mat. Arms and legs stretch apart, and then drag the heels in as you reach the hands towards the heels. On this second round, it's okay to hover the hips a little bit. I find that it feels really natural. And then set one vertebra down at a time and start to go into your windshield wipers. And as the knees continue to windshield wiper, add the snow angels in. And notice how that gives you a little more space to tilt the pelvis from side to side. The next time the knees point to the right, push into the left foot. Slowly roll onto the right side, so you should be facing away from me. Stack arms and legs, and then squeeze elbows and knees together. Extend everything out. From now on, it's super nerdy, but I'm going to call this the protozoa pulsation. And just feel that fluidity as if you were a single-celled organism that's floating and oozing through the primordial soup. And the next time everything lengthens out, slowly start to roll towards the belly, but try to control it as much as possible. And now that we've done both sides, we'll add on a little bit. So from here, draw a big circle with the arms around you. And as the fingers reach back towards the heels, slide the shoulder blades down the back and allow that to slowly peel the heart off of the mat. Touch the right fingertips down like you're playing a piano behind you. Reach left hand forward and gently roll onto the back away from the screen. Drag the heels in, point both hands towards the heels, lift the hips. And now we're going to repeat that a few times. So lower the hips, nice easy windshield wipers as you snow angel the arms. Roll onto the left side, just one protozoa pulse. As you lengthen out, roll onto the belly, circle the arms up, flying cobra, let the heart peel away. And now plant the left fingertips on that same piano, reach the right arm forward and roll over the right side onto the back. Drag the heels in, bring hands towards heels, lift into a baby bridge pose. And then set everything down, start to windshield wiper as the arms circle overhead. Roll to the right, one protozoa pulse. We'll do this one more time on each side. So you can move at your own pace or you can continue to follow me. So we roll onto the belly, circle the arms back, peeling up. Right hand plants, left hand lengthens so you can roll over the left into your bridge. And then set everything down. Windshield wipers and snow angels. Sounds like bad weather, huh? And then knock your knees over. Take a protozoa pulse on your left side. Control your way onto the belly. Circle the arms back. We've got just one more round. And see how much you can ooze through this. Left hand stays back. Right arm sweeps forward. When we go into our windshield wipers. And we're moving so gently and so fluidly onto the side that you don't feel any specific muscle, just your whole body. Now we can roll to the belly, working together. And this is going to be the source of our strength today. We'll all meet on our belly, circling the arms back, peeling up to flying cobra. Hey Kara, welcome. Plant the hands just below the chest. Push into the hands to slowly shift the hips back to tabletop. Walk the hands in, tuck the toes under, and just draw some big circles around the knees. And as you circle the hips around the knees, notice the sensation in your flexed foot. And if it feels good, you can send the hips back more. But if it feels intense, keep the hips closer to the knees. And change direction. And then center the weight on both knees. Shift the hips back and push down into the legs. Slowly stack one vertebra at a time. Head and neck come up last. Nice. You're taking your time. I know you've all done yoga with me before. Start to send your hips back as you sweep the arms for a kneeling chair, and take a couple of pulses here. So each time the hips go back, feel the back line of the body lengthen, and then push down into the knees. Arms drop and just come to neutral and relax. And a lot of times, even in neutral, people's pelvises tip forward. So see if you can just lift the front of the pelvis slightly, drop the back of the pelvis so there's just a nice even tone on front, back, top, and bottom. So we're going to add on to this movement. You might want to watch me one time. As we come up to the kneeling, we'll shift the weight to one side and tap our other toe forward, and then go right back into the kneeling chair and tap the other toe forward. And at first, it might not be so much of a tap because that takes a lot of control, but you guys are all amazing movers, so maybe you got it right away. But then see if you can move a little slower with a little more control so the tap gets more and more silent. Ooh, that was beautiful, Angeli. Doesn't this make you feel kind of cool? And the next time the right toe taps in front of you, pause there and set the heel down and just relax the body and let the hips, yeah, you guys look great. Notice how your hips are right over your knees. That's how we are going to play with our lunges today. So great job, everybody. Let's warm up our foot a little bit by heel toeing it in, releasing the hands to either side of the foot, and just shift the knee forward and back. And you don't want any strain in ankle, knee, or hip, so this can be really fluid. But this is just a great way to get the tendons in the ankle sliding and gliding. Take a few pulses like this and try to keep the 3 points of the foot anchored. So the inside and outside of the ball of the foot and the heel all stay down, which does take some foot strength. It might feel hard not to lift the foot. And the next time you come up, push down into the legs, heavy pelvis, stack one vertebra at a time, and then heel toe the foot back to where it came from. So over to the right, so you've got a little bit more room. Grab an imaginary medicine ball, and it's pretty heavy, so notice how you have to like support your body a little bit differently. And slowly start to curl forward and reach the medicine ball behind you in the space between heel and knee, and then push down into the legs, slowly rising up. And now you're holding the medicine ball just in the right hand. Let it lift and reach to the right, but feel the connection of the arm into the core, right? Because it's a really heavy medicine ball. And then go back the way you came. So threading through, and then pushing down to slowly rise up and reach the right hand away from the left hip. Take a few more pulses on your own. I really like to inhale down to stay buoyant, and exhale up as I'm stretching my arm away from my hip. The next time you lift up, pause there, bring your fingertips behind your ears as if you were going to do a crunch. And so just imagine you're lying on your back and you're going to do a bicycle. So you have to engage your core to curl up to the outside of that left leg. And feel the connection between the belly and the thigh and really try to squeeze there. You can even tap the right side of the body to make sure those muscles are engaging. And take a couple of these upside down crunches. And we're going to need these muscles to engage to support us as we transition. So we really want to build a little extra strength here. The next time you squeeze down, imagine you're holding something really special between your belly and your thigh, and you're not going to let anyone take it away from you. Feel that pressure, and then play with just hovering the back knee for a moment, and then set it down. And do this a couple of times. And then set the back knee down, set the hands down, and slowly glide the right leg along the mat, straight back into a half plank, because the left knee is down. And just notice how weightless this plank is with the left knee down. Close your eyes and imagine that both legs are behind you and it still feels this easy. And then bring the right knee in, and we'll do the same thing on the second side. From tabletop, we'll just start circling the hips. And then go the opposite direction. And then from center, start to spring forward and back. So bring the hips back towards the heels and imagine the back line of the body is like a rubber band, and you pull it back and then you let it go and it just propels you forward. Or maybe a slingshot is even better. So as the hips pull back, you're tensioning the slingshot and then you let it go. This is going to help us later on. The next time the hips come back, push down into the legs, slowly rolling up one vertebra at a time. Feel the heavy fascia of the back body pulling down so that you can very slowly stack with control. Beautiful. And then float the arms up, kneeling chair. Take a couple of kneeling chairs and then we'll add in our weightless toe taps whenever you're ready. And so the weight shifts into one knee and the other toe steps forward. Check in with the breath. Make sure you're not holding it, but it doesn't necessarily have to sync with the movement unless it naturally does so. And now the next time the left knee comes forward, pause there and set the heel down. Heel toe the foot in so it's right in front of you. Release the hands down and just take a couple of pulses forward and back so you get to take the ankle through a nice big range of motion. If this isn't comfortable, try scooching the foot forward a little bit more, just so there's less pressure in the back knee as the hips come back. And then try to keep all 3 points of the foot down. And I'm going to add a 4th point, the big toe. So you're not gripping with the toes, but the big toe is just gently holding towards the mat. The next time you come forward, walk the foot over to the left. Push down to slowly rise up. You've got your very heavy medicine ball now, so it takes a lot of control as you slowly release forward and extend it into the space between knee and heel, and then push down into the legs, slowly rising up one vertebra at a time, and then hold the medicine ball just with the left hand and reach it up and to the left. Feel that connection in the front of the body, right hip all the way up to the left arm. And then go back the way you came, reaching through the space and then pushing down to rise up. Nice. And then sync it with your breath however you want, or try inhaling down and exhaling up for a little more control. And it's okay to really allow the spine to round and melt so there's no resistance, just as long as it feels even and there's no strain at a single point. And the next time you rise up, bring fingertips behind the ears, and we'll do our upside down crunches. So spiral to the left and slowly curl towards the thigh, squeezing the body and the thigh together so the left side of the core engages. Push down into the left foot, rising up to neutral, and then curl back down to the left. And take a few of these. And the next time you curl down, squeeze body and thigh together, tuck right toes under, and play with hovering the knee and then setting it down. And just take a couple of those pulses. And if that feels too intense, because we're going to make it more intense, feel free to grab a block, release the hands, and use the block for your next transition, because we're going to go from that twisted lunge up to standing. So option to use the block to come up higher, otherwise I'll cue you how to do it from the twisted lunge. So push into the feet, hover the back knees, and power into the left leg as you pivot the feet to the right. And Kara, I know you jumped in late, flip around, you should be facing me, and now we'll be on the right track from now on. Let's go back the way we came. So pivot the feet to the left, slowly curl any amount. You don't have to go all the way down. And then power into the feet back to neutral. Drop the arms. And allow the feet to lead the way, right? Because we don't want any strain in the knees. So the feet go first, the hips follow, and the body follows that. You don't have to go very far if it feels challenging, but try to feel that chain reaction, feet, hips, spine. The next time you come up, flip and go the other way. So turn the feet to the right, slowly spiral down to the right, and then push into the feet back up to center. We're just taking a few in one direction at first to get those pathways. We don't want to feel any pressure in either of the knees, especially the back knee. It's easy to forget about what's happening behind us, so bring a little extra awareness there. And then the next time you come to center, we're going to add on. I find that this helps me really get the crunch, but now we're going to free the arms. So same movement where the feet pivot and you twist, but now let the left arm swing behind you. And then pivot back to center and go the other way now, and right arm swings behind you. And same patterning, right? It starts at the feet. And everything follows, and there's a sense of ease. And once you got the hang of it, it can feel really nice to swing up through center. Before we were going down, but now we've got a little momentum. Nice. Yeah, it's almost like a pendulum swing, and it reaches the peak at the center, and then it swings back down to one side and then back down to the other side. And there shouldn't be any pressure or pain in the knees. So if you're feeling that, go a little slower, move with a little more control, and don't bend so much in the knees. And we'll all meet at center. Pause for a moment, and then gently melt the arms down, close the eyes, and just notice the warmth, the energy flowing through the body. If you're following along with the playlist, you can go to the next track. We'll do a little bit more standing, and then we'll go back to the beginning, and we'll find our full flow. This is just our warm-up. Okay. So from your wide Tadasana, shift the weight into the left foot and bring the outer edge of the right foot towards the mat. Gently start to circle the hips. And I know this might be an unfamiliar sensation. You might be like, wait, I thought I was supposed to avoid this. Like, I don't want to twist my ankle. Twisting your ankle actually comes from these muscles being tight and weak. We're working to strengthen them through all of our standing poses, and this is actually going to lengthen these muscles so that you don't roll your ankle. Of course, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it, but try to release the mind and really tune in to whether this feels safe and enjoyable. This has been an amazing game changer for my own feet and legs. And then bend the knee just a little bit. It's going to change the stretch as you continue to circle the hips. And before we do the second side, step the right foot underneath the right hip, left foot underneath the left, and just pause and notice the sensation in the right foot, especially the outer edge of the right foot. And then notice the sensation in the arch of the right foot. Sometimes as the outer edge can come down more easily, the inside lifts up. And now we'll bring that balance into the other side. So step the feet wider than the hips. Shift the weight into the right leg as you roll the weight onto the outside of that left foot as much as is comfortable. And then bring a little weight there if it feels safe. If it doesn't, keep less weight there. And then just start to circle the hips. And circling the hips is going to create a shearing action over this lateral line of the body. And so you might feel it beyond the outside of the left ankle. And Kara, if that feels great, you keep doing what you're doing, but see if stepping the feet wider just allows you to get a little bit more length on the outside of that left foot. And make sure you're breathing. And then bend the knee a little bit. And keep circling the hips and just notice how that changes. And if that's ever too intense, you can extend the leg. And then shift the weight to the right, flatten the left foot out, bring both feet underneath you, and just pause for a moment and feel the feet underneath you. Notice any new sensations on the outer edge of the foot, the inside of the foot. Our next movement is going to wake up the deep front line, which travels from the inner edge of the foot all the way to the deep calf, inner thigh, and pelvic floor, and beyond, but that's as far as we'll focus on today. And as long as we're here, I'm going to turn to the side, but you can stay where we are. Let's play with just a couple of nice, easy chair poses. So knees and hips crease at the same time, and just float the arms up so there's really a sense of ease here, and feel the arms sweeping forward at the same time that the hips crease back. The next time you crease, drape the body over the legs, hips reach high, head hangs low, and then drop the sits bones and stack one vertebra at a time, and really actually try to feel that nuance. And then let's repeat that. So first our chair, and then we drape, and then we roll up. Our class is a little bit different today. We're this warm-up round. We're taking a lot more time with these sequences so that when we get into our full vinyasa, you'll be able to just flow through it effortlessly. Next time you roll up, stay there, and then start to step the feet wide. You don't have to rush if you're still rolling up. And to find our optimal distance, play with kicking into the right foot and notice how the body can reach to the left. And then go the other way and give yourself permission to keep broadening your base, like letting the bottom leg reach out a little bit more, or the extended leg reach out until you find the place where you don't want to reach out anymore. And sometimes you go too far and you can heel toe in a little bit. And then come to center, press into the feet, and just look down. Because we're not going to do that every time, but for this first round, it's nice to find it. Yeah, you guys all look like you found your unique special stance. So draw the hands in without arching the back. And so this is just activating the core, but sometimes people do this and we don't want that to happen. So keep everything neutral and just notice the shoulder blades drawing down the back. And then turn the toes out, and as you bend the knees, float the arms to a T. And take a couple of pulses here. The angle of the thighs should match the angle of the feet, and there shouldn't be any sensation on the inside of the knee. And then imagine you're already birds. I can see you flying. As you push down, feel the whole body lift up, and then imagine yourself just soaring and gliding on a current of air as you sink down. Just take a few nice slow pulses, and this really is a magical approach to goddess pose, because as we push down, we're activating really subtly this deep front line all the way up into our core. So we'll just take a couple more pulses. And the next time you come up a little bit, pivot the feet to the left. So the left toes face the short edge, the right toes come in ever so slightly, and start to push into the left foot to send you back, and push into the right foot to send you forward. So we're snaking in our virabhadrasana 2. And then let's allow the snaking to get smaller. So instead of pushing into the feet are going to stay perfectly balanced, and then we're just gently reaching from side to side through the spine. I find these lateral movements can be challenging, so starting big with the legs helps, and then slowly getting smaller and smaller till I'm articulating just with my core. It's kind of exciting. Nice, great. Yeah, do you guys feel the difference? It looks like you're getting those small core muscles on. Connect with the breath. And then just relax the arms down, because my shoulders were getting tired. Slowly start to tip at the hips. Keep the left knee bent, going into a Chitta Parshva Konasana. Drop the bottom arm, slice the top arm up. Take a natural breath in. And whenever it's time for you to exhale, play with hovering the bottom arm and then inhale to drop it. And just do that 2 more times with your own exhale and just notice the strength that emerges when your bottom arm hovers. We'll hold the next pulse. Oh my gosh, the medicine ball, it just landed in each of your hands. Amazing. Turn your feet to the right so you're in that wide straddle and just make a big circle with your medicine ball. And it doesn't matter how far forward you go. You don't want any strain in your forward fold, but we're going to make 3 circles. And I said big, but it should be whatever feels the most comfortable for you. And the next time you're down at the center, pause there. We did this with our feet together. Now we're going to do it in straddle. Drop the sits bones, sink the weight towards the heels, slowly roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Draw the elbows back without arching. Turn feet out as you float the hands. We'll take a couple of pulses in our weightless goddess pose. And the next time you sink, stay low, turn your feet the other way, virabhadrasana 2, and then go right into that snaking. So push into the left leg. Notice how it sends you forward. Push into the right leg. Let it send you back. You can keep it big. And then play with letting it get smaller and smaller so the legs stay in the same place, but you can feel the core snaking from side to side. It actually takes a lot more strength and finesse, I find, which is kind of funny because you can't even see that you're doing it very much. And then drop the arms, bring the hands to the hip creases, and slowly start to tilt to the right. Right arm down, slice the left arm up. Natural inhale on your own time, and then on your next exhale, hover the bottom arm. Each inhale on your own, you'll release, and each exhale, just notice that inner brightness. This is actually our deep front line turning on as we lift that right arm. So you might even feel the arches engage, the inner thighs activate, the pelvic floor tone without effort. You don't want to make any of that happen. The next time you lift, oh, there it is again, your medicine ball. Turn all 10 toes to the side. 3 big circles to the left. And then we'll all meet released at the center of the feet. This time we'll walk the hands over to the right, pivoting all 10 toes to the right so you're in almost like a plank with the left leg back. And then glide the right foot back to meet the left. Ooh, our first plank, you can test it and see if you feel strong here. Try to resist the urge to do extra. Sometimes we over-engage. See if you can relax. And then let's all lower the knees and bend. Slowly tip the knees, the feet towards the right, rolling towards the side plank, left hand lifts. And then release the left hand and do the same thing the other way. I find it helpful here to squeeze my inner thighs together to stabilize the knees. And don't worry, we'll have time for full side planks later, so just enjoy the warm-up. I know we've got some go-getters in class. And the next time you roll to the right, bring the right hip down, roll all the way onto the back, the left arm will swing around, and then we'll actually do that to the other side. So you'll roll through center, through your side plank, lower the hips, and so it's like a more chill version, going through plank and not even really side plank. It's almost like plank and then melting the hips down. But yay, free massage. The next time you roll away from me, so you're at the far end of the mat, pause. I see some smiles. I'm glad you enjoyed that. So far edge of the mat, slowly recline onto the back. And believe it or not, we're back at the beginning, but swapped directions because we have to do the second direction. So that was our warm-up. And so now we're ready to learn our full vinyasa. Before we go anywhere, just pause, breathe, let all of that soak in. Let's extend the legs. I feel like my hips wanted to uncrease, so you can have that option too. And I'm sorry you're laying down, but if you want to go to the next track, you can, or you can wait till we come up later, but now it's up to you to go to the next track at any point. So from the back, we'll start with our bridge pose. Drag the heels in, plant the feet, allow the hips to float, curling up one vertebra at a time. And then gently set the hips down. Start to windshield wiper knees from side to side as you snow angel the arms overhead. The next time the knees go to the right, roll onto the right side. You should be facing me. Protozoa pulse, hug elbows and knees together. Extend everything out. And then roll onto the belly. Circle the arms behind you. Peel up, flying cobra. And then plant the hands widest part of the ribs. Push down to slowly send yourself all the way back. Tuck the toes under, hips to heels. And now push into the feet to spring forward into your kneeling plank. Take a couple of springs here. And then hover the knees, press the hips back, and extend through the backs of the legs for downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths and kick into one leg at a time, letting that side expand and lengthen. The other knee can bend if that feels good. And then center the weight and bend the knees. And let's play with a couple of those springs. So the hips come towards the heels and then recoil, or actually you're recoiling hips to heels and then let go so the shoulders shoot forward into plank. Take a couple of these. And then the next time the hips come back, we'll take a couple of smaller bounces and then we'll actually take our right foot with us as we step forward into a weightless lunge. So you can try that a couple of times, springing the foot forward and back with you. And then drop the left knee, shift the left hip over the left knee, and slowly roll up. The right arm reaches away from the left hip, feeling really strong through that spiral line of the body. And then dive between the legs. Take 3 more on your own. And the next time you twist up, pause there. Shorten your stance because it's going to make it easier to transition. Fingertips behind the ears. Curl into that right leg, upside down crunch. Hover the left knee and then power into the feet to stand up towards me, just like we did before. And now we'll curl the other way, back to center. And you can stay like that, or you can start to add in the arm swing. And now I'm going to layer in lots of options, and you just follow along to anything that's fun and ignore anything that's not fun. So as you start to shift to one side, play with lifting the back foot. So you're in a baby flying warrior. So same exact movement, but you get to launch a little bit. I've really been enjoying bending the back knee as I lift it, and I get a little extra oomph in my hamstring. And then notice how the opposite arm swings back at the same time that the heel kicks towards the glute. And the next time you're flying towards the right, pause there, push down into the right foot, and slowly bring the left foot towards the calf or the thigh for tree pose. And then we're going to continue. So hover the left knee, the the foot floats. Bend the right knee, swing right arm back, left arm forward, touch the left toes down, and then power into the right foot back to center, and then pivot the other way. Take your flight option to come into tree. And then we'll continue with that for a few more rounds. So you can just fly in your I need a name for this funny bent warrior guy. Feel free to unmute if you have a good idea. And then you can add in the tree pose, or you can just keep going back and forth without the tree if you're just enjoying that spiral. And the next time you're pointed towards the left edge of the mat in tree, pause there. Take your time. And we'll have one moment to come into a deeper virabhadrasana 3 if you want to. So bend the left knee, slowly start to reach the right leg back. The right arm reaches forward away from the foot, and the left arm swings back just like it was before. Take a couple of breaths. Feel the warmth building in the left leg. We're going to take a break on that leg in a moment, so enjoy it. And then set the right toes down and slowly pivot to the side. Grab your medicine ball and take your 3 circles to the right. And then when you're at the bottom, soften the knees. Pause for a moment. Prasarita Padottanasana. Let the spine melt. And then shift the weight back into the heels. Drop the sits bones. Stack one vertebra at a time. Draw the elbows back. And then turn the feet out as you float the arms. And take a couple of pulses here. Checking in with sensations on the hips and the knee. And that left leg's tired, so we're going to give it a break by going to the right. So we'll meet in virabhadrasana 2, and you can go right into the big or the small snakes. It's up to you, or do both. The next time you reach forward, pause there, drop the right arm, slice the left arm up, and on your next exhale, hover the left arm. Take 3 of those, and then you're going to hold and breathe and smile. And push into the feet and feel the connection of legs up into pelvis, up into core, up into this invisible medicine ball. And then turn the toes to Prasarita, and we'll take 3 big circles the opposite direction. The next time the arms circle to the left, pivot the feet, plant the hands inside of the left foot, and drag the left foot along the mat into plank. Pause for a moment and plank. See if you can soften. See if you can relax for a moment. And if you want a little bit more here, tent the right fingertips and hover the left foot. If that's going well, you can hover the right hand or keep it down. And then release the left foot down. Swivel the heels to the left, so now the weight's in the opposite hand, and reach up for side plank. Never knew side plank could feel like a break, right? And then release the hand down. And before we do the second side, drop the knees, press the hips back to the heels, and push down into the knees, slowly rolling forward into a long extended cat pose. Pause in this puffy plank, and then drag the hands back, letting the front of the body open into an extended cow. Keep the low back really soft, so there's no compression here. The hips don't go very low. And then we'll try the second side. So hover the knees. Come on to the left fingertips. Option to hover the right foot. Option to hover both arms. And then set the left hand down. I think I had you, did I go? And then swivel the other way. I'm sorry, had you go the other the wrong way before, I think. Release both hands down, release the knees down, send the hips back to the heels. And we'll take one more wave forward, rolling the spine until the shoulders stack over the wrists and pulling on the mat so the front of the body can open any amount. And then lift the shins and we'll go into our nice rolls, but we'll go right into melting so you don't have to do anything else on the wrists. So you can just roll from side to side a couple of times and we'll eventually meet on the far side of the moon or the yoga mat. So the next time you're away from me, scooch down so you've got some headroom and then slowly recline onto the back. Option to extend the legs. And we're going to do the same sequence on the second side. And so see if you can relax a little bit now that you know what to expect. Maybe it'll feel easier, freer. Maybe you'll be able to feel more. Begin by dragging the heels in towards the glutes. Peel up one vertebra at a time. And then set one vertebra at a time down. Snow angel the arms overhead as you start to windshield wiper. Next time the legs go to the left, pause on the side. Take one protozoa pulse. And then roll all the way onto the belly. Circle the arms back. Peel the heart up. Flying cobra. Bend elbows, plant hands, and push back to your springy table. Take a couple of bounces. And the next time the hips come back, hover the knees and extend into downward facing dog. And then bend your knees and take a couple of pulses forward into plank. And then let the pulses get smaller. So it's almost like you're storing energy. You're like, ooh, I want to go to plank, but I'm holding out for something. Step the left foot forward. And then back to your bouncy down dog and just take a couple of those weightless steps. And the next time the left foot comes forward, drop the right knee. Send the hips back a little so they stack over the right knee. Sits bones heavy, roll up one vertebra at a time. Bring your awareness to your right hip and start to lift the left hand away from the right hip and just back ever so slightly. And then bring the hands towards one another as you dive through the legs. Push down, rising up, and then lift the left hand away from the right hip. And do one more on your own. We'll meet in the twist. The next time you're in your twist, shorten your stance a little bit, fingertips behind ears, curl into the left leg, hover the right knee, and then power into the left foot as you pivot to the right. And now we'll go right into the arm swing version. And so as you pivot, let that back arm swing freely. And try to find as much ease here as possible. So there's no resistance in the legs, there's no twisting in the knees. Now you can start to add on your flying warrior. So as you twist, the back heel starts to kick towards the back glute. So if the left leg is kicking back, the right arm is swinging. And it's almost as if that hand and foot are reaching towards one another. And then option to pause and add in your tree after each of those flying warriors. And notice the different quality as we move through space and shift and flow. And then you hold and you become very grounded. Have a lot more control. The next time you pivot to the right, we will meet in our tree pose, and then we'll have an option for an extended moment in Warrior 3. So bend the right knee, get nice and springy in the right leg, hover the left knee, and then slowly start to reach the left leg back as you tip forward, reach the left arm forward, right arm reaches back, take a few bends into the right knee. Imagine your right leg is like Tigger's tail. And you're just gently bouncing, coiling up energy and fun. Option to extend the right arm overhead if that feels useful. And then slowly drop the left foot, pivot the toes to the left. 3 big or small, whatever you want, kind of circles to the left. But notice how the upper body is integrating into the core and then translating that movement down into the legs, so there's no strain in the knees or the ankles. The next time you're at center, pause, send the weight to the heels, and slowly roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Elbows pull back, but keep the ribs in to prevent arching. And then turn the toes out at the same time that you float the arms. Take a couple of nice, easy pulses here. Not trying to go deep into the pose, but just trying to notice that sense of strength running up through the arches of the foot into the literal core of your being. And then stay low. Turn the feet to the left. Virabhadrasana to right into your version of snaking, whatever that might be. And then we'll all push into the right leg to shift over the left leg. Drop the bottom arm, slice the top arm. And on your next exhale, hover the bottom arm. We'll take 3 of those pulsations with our own breath. And try to feel that quality of the exhale as you reach, and that strength and weightlessness that can occur. We'll pause. Make sure you can breathe. And connect with the feet. Keep reaching up and out of the pelvis, drawing in through the arches all the way up to the core. And then turn the feet to the side and go into your 3 circles. And the next time the arms are at the center, walk them over to the right, pivot all 10 toes to the right, and drag the right foot back into your weightless plank and pause. Relax, feel the support through the entire body. And point and flex the feet a couple of times just to make sure you're not locking up anywhere. And then we'll drop the knees, send the hips back to the heels, and let's pause for a moment and roll the wrists in and out, preparing for our last round of side plank. I just want to make sure everybody has a break from their wrists. And then bring the hands back to the mat, push into the feet, slowly rolling forward to your puffy plank, and then pull on the mat, lengthening the front of the body, just letting it melt, no strain here. And then extend the legs to your full plank as long as that's comfortable, and swivel the heels to the right, shift the weight into the right hand, and slowly stack the shoulders, lift the left hand. If this feels supported, play with lifting the left leg. It can come to a tree, it can float, it can come behind you, push into the left foot. That actually feels amazing. Wow, cool, everybody. If your foot's not already behind you, place it behind you. Sink your hips down just to give that wrist a break, and we're just going to play with that. So connect the elbow to the knee and just notice that pathway. We're going to keep it nice and strong as we slowly start to push up, and then at the last moment, lengthen the arm away from that left knee, letting the whole left side of the body unfurl. Option to do that a couple times. If you feel any fatigue in the right side of the back, like you're just not fully supported here, feel free to bend the knees and play with the same idea with the knees bent. And then let's all release the hips down. We're going to do it the other way, but give yourself a big hug. And we'll take a few of those massages before we do the second side. So the hand plants, you roll through the kneeling plank all the way to the other side. And just take a few rolls, as relaxed as possible. And the next time you roll towards a plank, pause there. Option to keep the knees down. It's still strong. There's so much to explore, so don't feel any pressure. But if you would like to float the knees and extend through the back of the calves, you can. And then swivel the heels the other way. So the weight comes into the left hand, float the right hand. Pause here, or play with hovering that top leg. Just make sure you can feel the connection from the left armpit to the left hip to the left side of the foot. So all of that is supporting you and you're not sagging anywhere. And then eventually bring the right foot behind you. Set the hips down. Feel the connection between right elbow and right thigh. And then push down into both feet and the left arm as you start to unfold that right side of the body. And you can always hold, or you can take a couple of pulses so that you're continually connecting with a sense of ease. If you want to, if it feels good, you can come onto the right toes. And then place the hips down, drag the left foot in, and we'll just take a few last rolls, and then we'll do some nice wrist therapy. The next time you roll away from the mat, we'll meet there. Extend the legs as long as that's comfortable. If it's not comfortable, it's okay to cross the legs or whatever. And reach the hands in front of you and pinch all 4 fingers and your thumb together as if you're making like a little crane head, and start to make some circles with the fingers. And as you circle, allow the hands to come open and then close them again. And now we're adding on a lot of layers here. So we're opening and closing the hands at the same time that we're circling. And now I'll turn so you can face me. Now we'll start to take our arms wider and wider as we continue. And when your arms make it to T, you can pause and take a couple with the fingers closed. And then we're going to reverse the circles and go back the way we came. And this is actually surprisingly challenging. I know you're like, wait, you said wrist therapy. You're still working, I know, but it's good for you. The shoulders get tired. It's okay to lower the arms a little bit. And then once the hands eventually make it back to center, you can just bring the hands to the heart for a moment and then let them rest down into the lap. And we're all different directions. So let's turn to the left so our feet are back on our mat. Place the hands to either side of the hips and bend the knees. As you bend the knees, notice if it just becomes easier for you to sit up nice and straight. And then keep the heels where they are, but dig them down like you're digging in the sand and pull them towards you and feel the contraction from the heels up to the hamstrings. Do that a couple times and just notice how much strength you get into your core when you do that. The next time you pulse up, let the body start to drape forward and then kick into the heels. And as the legs extend, let that propel you back up to seated. So we'll do a few of these, bending the knees, releasing forward, kicking into the legs to stack. And you can continue just like that. You can add on one more element, but you don't have to. So if this is already complicated enough, stay there. If you want a little bit more, the next time the knees bend, as you start to tilt forward, let the knees fall out to the side in external rotation. And then once the body drapes forward, kick into the legs, letting them spin back to neutral. Knees bend and circle out, body follows, kick into the legs back to neutral. Once you've got the hang of it with the legs, you can start to let the arms follow. And so really the spine is creating the movement and the arms are just an emanation of the spine. Nice, yeah, great. And now you can imagine you're a really cute little octopus, because they really are so cute, in the ocean. And each time the arms and legs are reaching out, you're propelling your body through the beautiful, vast, watery depths. And sometimes you can even feel that propulsion as the front edge of the body sucks in towards the back edge. The next time you circle forward, if you want to pause, you can. If you are hypermobile and you know you have a tendency to go too far, then keep active. Keep being an octopus. But feel free to pause. And then I just recommend gently swaying from side to side. And then roll up one vertebra at a time and send your hips down towards your heels. Recline onto the back. And we've got two options. One just bubbled up. I wasn't planning on this, but I feel like we are actually warmed up for a wheel pose. So option one is to slowly start rolling up and down the spine, one vertebra at a time, into bridge. And I love doing this. So if you're feeling like chill or you're in a late time zone and you're going to bed soon, stick to this option. But if your side planks felt really good, and if this movement felt really good, you can take it a little further into a full wheel, right? Because we're not going to come into it this way, but we're really just one step away from a full wheel when we're in that pose, right? So from the back, if you want to try to go for it, imagine you're holding two pies with your hands, and then start to lift the elbows, and whoops, you dropped the pies, that's okay. So fingertips are tucking in towards the elbows. This takes a lot of openness in the triceps, so if you're feeling really tight here, then I might recommend just sticking to the bridges for today. And now, just like bridge, slowly curl up one vertebra at a time till you feel the weight in the shoulder blades, and wiggle around, make sure nothing's tensing up. If you've got enough openness in the wrists, start to push down into the hands until you can bring the crown of the head to the floor. So there shouldn't be too much weight in the head, but you're not pushing into the arms yet. And then slowly start to extend through the arms, pushing your heart beyond the triceps, and just make sure there's a nice evenness in the spine so you don't feel this too much, and shift the weight from foot to foot to make sure you're not locking up anywhere. You can play with lifting onto one toe at a time. And then when you've had enough, slowly set the head down, tuck the chin, roll onto the back of the head, and roll down one vertebra at a time. Just pause. Sometimes there's an urge to go right into a forward fold. Let yourself just absorb that. That's a big one. And then wherever you are, we can all meet, hugging knees gently into the body and just rocking from side to side. Can even roll all the way onto one side. I find that's a really nice massage on my shoulder. And then let the top shin lift and let it roll you all the way over to the other side. And hold on to your shins, especially if you did virabhadrasana, upward facing bow, because we were in deep extension of the wrist. So now this is a really nice way to flex the wrists. And the next time you land on your back, pause, reach the legs up, reach the arms up, and imagine you have no bones. You're just made of jello, and give yourself some big jiggles. And try to move really slowly so it's almost like you can feel the quality of oozing in your fascia. Nice. Ah. And then two options. You can roll up to seated, or you can roll onto your right side and gently push up, whatever the body is craving. And take a moment upright. All of us did an inversion as the hips came up over the head, and so just let everything equalize in the body. And then you can pause your music, take a sip of water, and we'll prepare for some meditation and then Shavasana. So feel free to grab a cushion or fold a blanket, whatever would be most comfortable for you. I've really got to prop myself up because I do not want to create any tension, and I've got a sore little hip. And once you've found your seat, imagine you're like a jar of water and glitter. And we're finally still after like shaking everything up all class long, and let the next few breaths let all of the glitter just start to settle into the core of your being. Feel that quality of the dense parts of you sinking so that the purest, vastest parts of you can be clear and free. Bring your awareness to the heart center. And maybe you can even feel the heart beating. Let the breath be really natural, but just allow it to enter the heart as you inhale. And feel that energetic hub expand. And with each exhale, try to keep awareness of that expansion as you settle into the center of the heart. So every inhale, it's like the edges of the heart expand and they stay there. But every exhale, you feel the very center at the same time. Sometimes it feels real, like you literally feel your heart opening. And sometimes it feels like just a thought. And so we'll add the mantra Om Namah Shivaya to each breath. And And this mantra truly has the power to take us to the deepest experience of our heart. And so as you repeat it, feel a curiosity and a trust, and bring all your focus to the mantra and the breath and the heart, and see what's possible for you in each breath. Whether you are feeling very open or not feeling open at all, imagine that a crust has formed over the heart or over the edges of the body. And as you breathe consciously into the heart and repeat the mantra, that crust can crack and dissolve, and you are able to expand beyond what you thought was possible. Um, so now we have time for Shavasana. And it's so rare to feel so warmed up and feel like, wow, I can do anything. So I know I'm like, after this, I'm going to go play with my handstands because that's my favorite thing in the world. So before you cool down in Shavasana, I just want to give you the option to honor your body, and Shavasana definitely honors your body. But if there's anything that you're working on, and right now your body is so warm. I saw you guys in those weightless side planks, and some of you experimenting with virabhadrasana. So feel free to use the warmth and integration that you have created to just take a couple of minutes to play. If anyone wants to play with a handstand, I can give you some cues. Otherwise, just make your way to Shavasana. But I figure if I want to do it, maybe someone else out there is feeling it too. So it's up to you. It's only 3:20 here, so might feel very different in your body and in your time zone. Yeah, absolutely. And Shavasana people, feel free to mute so that I don't interrupt you. Satyam's going to zoom out so that you can see my body. I like going to the wall. It helps me feel safe and relaxed. I think the most helpful thing is playing with a waving vinyasa. We're in carpet, so it's not great, but playing with a waving vinyasa to feel the front of the body really strong, and you can take a couple of them. And then it's hard, but those bouncy down dogs that we did in class, doing a couple of bounces and feel like the storing of energy, and then playing with hopping the feet up to the wall, maybe hovering, maybe not. And then if that's going well, you can extend. I always use the wall as like a little bit of a support system. But my favorite thing is to roll forward and then take some, people call them like donkey kicks, where you bend the knees and try to hop the hips up. Nice, Kara. Wish we could all have those cool racks. And keep the elbows nice and supple. Make sure you can breathe. I'll watch you guys. Kara, as you reach the foot up, try pushing down into the hands to feel how that sends the legs straight up to the sky. Yeah, really try to, the foot's coming a little bit past the hip, so try to feel it reaching up towards the sky. That's the hardest part for me, is knowing what the heck is happening with my legs. And let your head go down, Anjali, before you kick, so it's sort of nice. And I can't see if you can use your wall, Anjali. It looks sort of like you might flip over, which is kind of scary, huh? Yeah. The biggest thing, I think, for seeing like where you are with the jumping up, and this might help you too, Kara, is to actually play with Virabhadrasana 3. And oh gosh, I don't even know where the camera is. I can't see myself. Play with Virabhadrasana 3 so that you can start to sense how the arms and leg is related. So you really feel like, oh, okay, my hands are forward, my foot's that way. And then it's almost like you do it here. And then play with it like, oh, okay, now I'm pushing into my hand to lift that leg. If that, because I think that's sort of the first step, is like feeling how the hand connects to that one lifted leg. Cool. Yeah, take your time if you're feeling it. Nice. That looks super straight, Kara. Yeah, you too, Angeli. Nice. Wow, no wall. Okay, I'm going to make you sign a waiver. Nice. That was perfectly straight from hand to foot. And actually, doctor's orders, you both have to pause. One new breakthrough that I had for myself, because I never want to stop once once I start doing it, and then I get all tired and my form gets really bad. 2 days ago, I started taking a video so that I could see my form, and it wasn't what I thought at all, but it forced me to pause because I'd watch the video, and then that would be like a little 10-second break, and it just got me to not get sloppy. So anything you can do to pause between repetitions, because they just get worse and worse unless we take a break. So feel free, because now I've talked for over 10 seconds, if you want to do one more, but as you explore on your own, just make sure you're giving yourself those little breaks, because we get tired. Yeah, and that was your best one, so let's end there. That was amazing. Not sure if we've ever done the old handstand to shavasana thing, so feel free to do any little cool down movements. I'm not gonna ring the bell because I want people to stay in Shavasana. I either talked through your Shavasana or you handstanded through your Shavasana. So I'm just going to be quiet, and you can stay here as long as it serves you. Thank you so much for practicing. That was such a fun class. You guys did an amazing job. I look forward to seeing most of you this week in class, and Angeli, hope to see you very soon. Congrats on your awesome handstand. Please let me know if there are any questions. Otherwise, take some extra Shavasana. Bye.